decided to make a video, but I'm never sure I'm making a video because I'm using my newest camera, which I don't really trust to make videos, so I gotta check. Yep, it's recording. Okay, so yeah, today is Friday. It is July 2016 according to my diary. We're on the 1st of July 2016. It is 9:36 in the morning. It's 73 degrees here by Lake Michigan. I was looking at videos on BookTube this morning, and people have Friday wrap-ups or Friday reads. And I was looking at my June 2016 diary to see what I read this month. And I finished reading in June this novel, The Summer Without Men by Cyril Roosevelt. I really enjoyed that, and I wish I could have done more to recommend this novel, but I get tongue-tied and I don't know how to really do book reviews except to say I really enjoyed reading this. I also mentioned that I read her essays in June, Living, Thinking, Looking, her essays by Cyril Roosevelt. Really enjoyed these. And then I bought her newest novel. I haven't read, but it's on my to-be read, The Blazing World by Cyril Roosevelt. But so I read her essays, not the whole book, and I finished her novel in June. And then I read, at the beginning of June, I was reading Ghost Milk, Recent Adventures Among the Future Ruins of London on the Eve of the Olympics by Ian Sinclair. I quit on page 143. I don't know, I might get back into it someday. I finished in June reading The Dark Knight by St. John of the Cross. And I started reading The Ascent of Mount Carmel. And I got kind of burnt out on the whole thing. And then I was start reading in June The Scattered Lantern, Rediscovering a Felt Presence of God by Ronald Rosehauser. I don't know, still on my desk. And I looked at yesterday, once again, my newest commentary on the Epistle of Romans, New International Greek Testament commentary by Richard Longnecker. I still have this on my desk. I've read 193 pages, and it's over 1,137 pages. It's a massive commentary, and I suppose you could read this the whole year, the rest of the year of June of the year 2016 and still go into the year 2017. I don't know. But I want to keep reading the Bible. The last thing I read on Romans was verse 18 in chapter 1 of Romans. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men will hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which is may be known of God is manifest to them. For God has showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and the foolish heart was darkened. So that's where I'm at in my Romans commentary, which is, if you don't know, the Epistle of Romans is a book in the New Testament written by the Apostle Paul. So yeah, that's what I was reading in June. Also, I read some short stories in The American Savage short stories by Bonnie J. Campbell in June. Still got this out. But I was reading in June The Money Cult, Capitalism, Christianity, and the Unmaking of the American Dream by Chris Lehman. This is still on my to be read in the month of July. I was reading in June J.M. Cortez, The Diary of a Bad Year. I got halfway through it. I still have it to be read. I was reading some essays in here by Jeff Dyer. I read half the book, so I have that still to be read in the month of July. And I started reading The Valley of the Dolls in June by Jacqueline Susan. This is the 50th anniversary. This is the kind of thing, once you start reading it, you don't want to put it down. And I got so many things I'm reading that I'm afraid that if I start reading it, I'll just put everything else aside and just focus on The Valley of the Dolls. And I start reading in the end of June, The Brothers of the Quill, Oliver Goldsmith and Grub Street by Norman Clark. I really want to get into this still in July. But what I've been really enjoying reading are these two books. And The Glory of the Empire, a novel and a history by Dean Ormissenson. This is translated out of French by Barbara Bray. I'm really enjoying this. I read this yesterday. I'm on page 123. I'm reading it pretty steadily, really enjoying it. And I start reading this, The Adventures and Misadventures of Marquero by Alvaro Mutis. This is translated out of Spanish by Edith Grossman. So I'm really enjoying these two, and I plan to continue reading them in the month of July. So yeah, so I basically, all I really finished last month was The Dark Knight by St. John of the Cross. And all I finished was the novel Summer Without Men. But I read essays by Suri Hersevelt, and I read some essays by Jeff Dyer last month, some short stories. So I'm always reading. I always don't finish things. If I do finish something, it means it was really grabbed my attention. I really was interested in it. But I'm always amazed when people on BookTube say, well, I read 4 or 5 books this month, or I read this weekend, I read 5 books. I read slowly, and I write a lot in my diary. I have online diaries and LiveJournal and Diaryland, and I spend a lot of time just meditating and thinking and pondering. And so, like when I read something like this, I read it and then I think about it. I kind of savor it. I go into these worlds and I just stay there for a while, and I don't rush in and out. So that's what I read last month and what I'll be reading in the month of July. July 4th, I go to a book sale, and maybe I'll find some things I'll start reading there this month. But I plan to stick with The Glory of the Empire, and I plan to stick The Ventures and the Misadventures of Marquero in the month of July. So that's my Friday wrap-up. That's my Friday reads. That's what's going on in my book world. I hope you have a good weekend, a good 4th. Until next time, bye.